Hello friends, hope you have seen the previous video about how to identify the research topic. Today we'll talk about how to finalize the research topic and based upon that writing precise research objectives. I hope you will enjoy the session. Let's start. First, talking about the research topic. As we discussed in previous video, should identify a research topic based upon your area of interest because it is you who is going to do the study. So find out a broad area in which you would like to conduct your research. Let's assume that you have identified your broad area of research, and that is consumer satisfaction towards Chroma, the electronic retail chain. Now, before we go ahead, we need to define our topic in a precise way, as precise as possible. Why? Because writing your research topic in precise way will help you understand what is the scope of your study and what would be the possible limitation of the study, so that those who are reading your report would get to know up to what extent your research project can be generalized. As you can see, I have written the topic in three different ways. At simplest way, I could write a study on consumer satisfaction towards Chroma. Visibly, it seems okay, but if you understand, it doesn't talks about anything in terms of scope, its applicability, and that's why it is very vague. Second way, a study on consumer satisfaction towards Chroma in Surat city. The second topic is bit more specific. Why? It talks about that the topic is limited to Surat city only. So it's a bit more specific. So those who are reading your report will get to know that in the best possible situation, this research can be generalized in Surat city only. Third sentence, if you see, it talks about a study on consumer satisfaction towards Chroma in Surat city during February to April 2021. So this is even more specific way to write your research topic, because you understand things might change over a period of time. The study which you have done at a particular point of time, it has its relevance, but for certain duration only. So by specifically mentioning the time duration also, you give the future researcher an idea that it was conducted during this time frame only. And based upon that, those who are reading your report will make idea about your research. So define your topic in a most precise way. It will help you also and others who are going to read your research project in future as a part of their literature review. Once you are done with your research topic, next is writing research objectives. What exactly you would like to achieve through this research. This gives you sense of direction. Yeah. Now, research objective you would be able to write when you have some clarity. Many times what we do is that we straight away start writing our topic and we straight away try to write our objectives also. And as we don't have much clarity, we end up writing something which has probably nothing much to do with the topic. You develop clarity when you read more. When I say reading, reading related things. So literature review is very important component of any research. Amount of literature review you do, that will determine how precise you would be in terms of your research objectives and research variables and all that things. Literature is reading about relevant literature, more specifically research papers, research articles, news articles. These all will tell you about the topic under the study. For example, as you've taken, your topic is consumer satisfaction. So read some research paper on consumer satisfaction. Read some research paper on consumer satisfaction for XYZ retail store. Read some articles on Chroma because that is the organization for which you are studying consumer satisfaction. So read relevant research paper, research articles, news articles. This will help you develop clarity, plus it will provide you some sense of direction. Just a suggestive list of things which you can follow and go through for literature review. Library is the best source, magazine, journal, newspaper articles. You can go on internet also, but you understand that on internet so many things are there, or almost everything is there. It is we who need to decide what is relevant and what is not so relevant. There are so many good sources or authentic sources for research. Two of them are Google Scholar, Jester. These are free sources, most of them. So have some authentic research papers from these sources. While reading related literature reviews and all that things, make a list of keywords. These are the research variable based upon which you will frame your questionnaires and all that things. And before that, writing your research objectives. So when you read a research paper on consumer satisfaction or Chroma, you will be able to make out some important keywords. Make list of it. And when I say reading related literatures, doesn't mean that you find exactly consumer satisfaction for Chroma. If you find exactly the same things, then probably you don't require to do the research. So doing literature review purpose is to find out what research has already happened and what research has not happened. So you can find out a research gap and you can define your objectives. So as you are doing consumer satisfaction towards Chroma, you can find out some research paper for consumer satisfaction towards some other retail store, consumer satisfaction for some other product or services. This will give you some idea about some variables or keywords. This is the basic structure of literature review. Why we do literature review? Literature review will help us moving from very general idea about something to more specific idea about that particular object or thing. So more you read, more specific knowledge you develop about particular thing. And that is the basic purpose of doing literature review. At the start, you might have very vague idea about consumer satisfaction. But at the end of literature review, you might get to know not only about theory of consumer satisfaction, you also would be able to identify determinants of consumer satisfaction and very specific to your area of study. That means what are the determinants of consumer satisfaction for a retail store like Chroma? And that is why I said do a thorough literature review. If you do literature review, but at surface level only, then you still might be having some general idea only, not so specific idea about your topic. And as you don't have specific idea about your topic, you want to be able to frame proper objectives. So even though your topic is consumer satisfaction, you might write some research objective which don't truly talk about consumer satisfaction, but might be talking about consumer buying behavior, might be talking about consumer attitude towards chroma. Why? Because you have not developed clarity about your topic, and that is because you have not done thorough literature review. So the base of any research is literature review. Problem is that many researchers do not give enough time in literature review, and as a result waste lot of time in framing some objectives which are actually irrelevant for the study. So it is investment. If you do investment of time in literature review, your future task would be very, very easy. When you read your literature review, for example, on consumer satisfaction and chroma, you might be able to list out some research variables or keywords, as I said previously. This is just a suggestive list. For example, some variables for study of consumer satisfaction for a retail store. So you end up getting certain variables. Now understand, more literature review means more variables you would be able to find. This is just a suggestive list: price of the product, quality of the product, variety of the product, and so on. These all are the variables for consumer satisfaction. Means determinants of consumer satisfaction. Means on what criteria consumer satisfaction depends. Okay. So this is just a list. It can be beyond this point. This is just to give you some idea about. Next job is, once you identify research variable, as you can see, they were complete lists. But then if you see, there was some similarity in terms of variable. For example, if you try to group, you realize that there's some variables were related to product. So you have grouped the research variable. For example, you realize that price of product, quality of product, variety of product, these all represent one common thing, that is product. So what you've done is that you group all product related variables and name it one product, one heading, that is product. This will help you frame your research objectives. You see that there is another category of variable which represents employee. For example, knowledge and competency of employee of chroma, communication skill of employee of chroma, ability to solve problem, responsiveness of employee. These all variables represent employee. So you have grouped two variable, that is employee. Realize that there are some variables who are related to after sales service. So you have third group of variable, that is after sales service, which include delivery service, installation, follow-up, maintenance. Apart from these also, based upon your literature review, you might find few more group of variables. Like for example, you might find some variables related to store, in-store, ambience and all that things. You might find few variables which are miscellaneous other than, like for example, parking, location. Yeah. So as I said, based upon amount of research which you have done, you would be able to find out some variables, group them, so that based upon that you would be able to write your research objective. So to make it simple, as I said, I have identified three group of variables over here for consumer satisfaction towards chroma. That means you have three broad areas in which you are going to measure consumer satisfaction for chroma: product, employees, after sales service. Yeah. As I said, it can be few more area also, like store layout or store ambience and so many others. Yeah. Now this become the base for writing your research objectives. So your broad area of research objectives are product, employees and after sales services. So now you are in a position to writing your specific objectives. For example, you can write down one group of variable is product. So you can write down one objective to measure consumer satisfaction towards chroma with reference to product assortment, under which you will ask 3, 4, 5 questions, research questions based upon the variables which we have identified: product price, quality, variety, and so on. Second group of variable was with regard to employee. So you can write down second research objective as to measure consumer satisfaction towards chroma with reference to employees of chroma. For employees of chroma, we have identified 3, 4, 5 variables like knowledge of employees, problem solving ability of employees, and so on. Third group of variable was after sales service. So your third research objective becomes to measure consumer satisfaction towards chroma with reference to after sales service. We identified few variables under after sales service also, like delivery, installation, repair and maintenance, and so on. So now from research topic, a broad research topic, we have moved towards writing specific research objectives. So this is how you can write your research objective at the end. Your primary objective is to measure consumer satisfaction towards chroma in Surat city. How you will achieve it? By writing some secondary objective which we just discussed, to measure consumer satisfaction towards chroma with reference to product assortment of chroma, employees of chroma, and after sales service of chroma. Thumb rule is more you read, more clarity you develop. Writing research objective and specific research objective is must, precondition for effective research. Because your research would be a source of literature review for somebody in future. So while doing it, do it very carefully. Too little literature review means too less research variable for your study, which ultimately make your study less effective. So as I said, I have identified 3 category of variables. It is just to explain. Otherwise, based upon reading, there can be 5, 6 different category of variable which affects consumer satisfaction for a retail store like Chroma. So read more and more. Problem is that we do spend very less time in literature review, and that's why we waste a lot of time in the later stage because we don't have clarity. And as I said, then your objective might be of buying behavior also, attitude also, and perception also. And that means your study is not in a proper direction. So clarity comes when you read related things, literature review. I hope you have understood how we have moved from writing a very broad research topic to make it a more specific research topic, and based upon literature review, writing research objectives in a most specific way so that we can proceed with further steps of researching. I hope you have understood it and I hope it will help you. Happy researching.